this word is used too much in the business world or in the commerce world, that is compounding. If we think about money, people may invest in many kind of companies or stuff. Nowadays it's crypto, many share, they buy many shares and all this stuff. And people who want to invest in their money, they are very familiar with the word that is compounding, because investment differs from any kind of savings. Is investment grows in compounding effect, where savings only gives us certain some kind of interest which isn't compounded. So it's a different kind of topic. Today I'm gonna talk about compounding effect in our real life, like how in every aspect of our human life we can use the concept of compounding effect. We humans, we want to achieve a lot of stuff in our life. That's normal also, because we have many kind of goals and targets to achieve. That varies from person to person. People want different type stuff for them to happen, and this kind of people want different stuff for them to happen. And that may be physical, that may be mental health related, that may be career oriented, that may be familiar goals, and anything that can be any kind of goals or any kind of things they want to achieve in their life. But we can't focus on these stuff for a long amount of time, because it takes a long amount of time. When we start something, it takes a long amount of time for it to go, because we don't have any kind of talent or any kind of skills. We have to learn the basics at first, and it takes a lot of time to learn the basics, because when we were kids we learned for years how to write alphabets, how to create words, how to write sentences, and it took a long amount of time. And still today, how to write sentences, and if we are going to learn a new language, it takes a long amount of time to understand, or actually to identify the letters or the alphabets in that word, and to understand the meaning of the words and how they are used and how they are written or anything like that. And it is also very tough to understand the vocabulary and use most amount of words, how to memorize them, and it takes most of the time. But when we know how to do this kind of stuff, when we know the basic grammars and stuff about this language, it doesn't take a long time for us to grow really well in that language, because we can read a lot of books and we can do a lot of writings too. That may be not that good at first, but it gets really good really soon. So the thing is, compounding effect works for us too. It grows exponentially after a certain amount of time. In the curve of compounding effect, we have a graph. If we define compounding effect in a graph, so that graph will be really, if it this x-axis and this is y-axis, and the graph starts like that it grows in like really low, and it doesn't have any kind of spike. It just goes in lateral position for a long amount of time. But when it starts to grow after the time, and it just grows like that, it just stays directly up, it just takes direct sharp spike. But most of us, we can't wait that long amount of time which it takes to like go laterally. It's kind of like trees. When they grow, it takes a long amount of time for them to grow really big. And maybe some trees are even like they take years to show any kind of growth outside of the soil, so we think they may have died or anything. But if we try to find out, we may see that that tree has really long and deep roots which it has spreaded in the years or in that time span. And compounding effect works like that. It works differently, it works in different effect. Like if we continue doing the same thing every day for a long amount of time, we might not know any kind of growth. We may not see any kind of improvement in ourselves. But when we just start seeing improvements, the improvements gets like hugely spiked up. So we should always believe in ourselves in compounding effect, and we should always keep doing the work. When we don't feel motivated, we should always keep doing the work and force ourselves to do the work, because that is how it works. That is how compounding effect or any kind of work or goals or achievement, it works like that. We have to give it a long amount of time for a long amount, and we have to do that thing consistently over that time.